Welcome back to the podcast. Today we're talking about something that affects us every single day: rules and laws. From traffic lights and speed limits to workplace policies and school regulations, our lives are full of rules. Most of the time, we follow them without even thinking about it. But have you ever wondered what life would look like without them? Would society function normally, or would everything quickly fall into chaos?
That's an interesting question because people often complain about rules. Nobody enjoys being told what they can and can't do. Yet at the same time, most of us expect other people to play by the rules. We want drivers to stop at red lights, businesses to operate fairly, and people to wait their turn. Even though rules can sometimes feel restrictive, they make life more predictable and safer.
Exactly. We often notice the importance of rules only when they're broken. Imagine a city where nobody obeys traffic laws. Accidents would become much more common. The same principle applies to society as a whole. Rules establish boundaries, create order, and help people cooperate. They're not always exciting, but they make everyday life possible.
I think it's also important to distinguish between laws and everyday rules. Laws are created by governments and enforced through the legal system. Rules can exist almost anywhere: schools, workplaces, sports teams, and even families. Either way, they help people understand what's acceptable and what's not.
Thinking back to school, there were plenty of rules. Arriving on time, wearing the correct uniform, completing assignments, and respecting teachers. At the time, many students thought those rules were unnecessary. But looking back, I can see they helped us develop responsibility, discipline, and good habits that became useful later in life.
I completely agree. Schools aren't just about learning subjects, they're also about learning how to function in a community. The same idea applies in the workplace. Companies have policies and procedures because they need consistency. Without some structure, confusion would quickly replace productivity.
That raises an interesting question. Do people follow laws because they genuinely respect them, or simply because they're afraid of the consequences?
Probably both. Most law abiding citizens understand that laws exist for a reason. At the same time, consequences matter. If there were no penalties for theft or fraud, some people might try to get away with breaking the law. Human behavior isn't always driven by good intentions alone.
I also think people are more willing to obey laws when they believe the system is fair. If citizens trust that laws are applied equally, they're more likely to cooperate. But when people feel that some individuals are treated differently, public trust can start to disappear.
Exactly. That's why nobody should be above the law. Whether someone is wealthy, famous, or politically powerful, the same rules should apply to everyone. Equality before the law is one of the foundations of a healthy society.
Of course, some people still choose to break the law. Why do you think that happens?
There are many reasons. Some people are motivated by money, others by anger, desperation, or peer pressure. Some believe they won't get caught. Others look for a legal loophole that allows them to avoid punishment. Human behavior is complicated, which is why law enforcement remains important.
I also think small acts of rule breaking can become normalized. People start to bend the rules because they see everyone else doing it. Over time, that attitude can spread and affect respect for more important laws as well.
That's true. Culture plays a huge role. When responsibility and civic duty are valued, people are more likely to respect rules. But if rule breaking becomes common, others may start to see it as acceptable too.
Another question is whether there can be too many rules. Nobody wants to live in a society where everything is controlled. There needs to be a balance between maintaining order and protecting personal freedom.
Absolutely. Too many regulations can create frustration and bureaucracy. People may even start looking for ways to cut corners. The best rules are the ones that solve real problems, protect people, and make society function better without creating unnecessary obstacles.
And not all crimes are the same. People often think about robbery or violence, but there are also forms of white-collar crime, such as fraud and corruption. These crimes can have serious consequences, even though they're less visible.
That's why governments often try to crack down on crime through stronger enforcement and better regulations. But punishment alone isn't enough. Education, opportunity, and strong communities are also important if we want to reduce crime in the long run.
In many ways, the success of a legal system is invisible. When institutions uphold the rule of law, people can focus on their jobs, studies, businesses, and families without constantly worrying about safety or fairness.
Exactly. Laws aren't simply about controlling people. They're part of what many people call a social contract, an agreement that allows millions of people to live together peacefully. In exchange for rights and protections, we accept certain responsibilities.
Of course, no legal system is perfect. Laws sometimes need to change as society changes. Questioning or improving laws isn't necessarily a bad thing. The goal is to create rules that are fair, practical, and beneficial for everyone.
Well said. Rules and laws may not always be popular, but they play a crucial role in modern society. They protect people's rights, establish boundaries, and help maintain order. And while it's healthy to discuss and improve laws, completely ignoring them would create far more problems than it would solve.
That's all for today's episode. Thanks for listening, and we hope this discussion has given you a new perspective on something that affects all of us every day.
Take care, everyone. And remember, a strong society isn't built only by governments. It's built by ordinary people who choose to act responsibly and, most of the time, play by the rules. See you next time.